Good morning. Good morning. Youth Council Caroline speaking. Hello. I'm interested in standing for election to the Youth Council, and I was told to give you a call. That's good. And could I have your name, please? Yes, it is Roger Brown. Thank you. I'm Caroline, the Youth Council Administrator. So, do you know much about what council does, Roger? I've talked to Stephanie. I think she is the chair of the council. That's right. And she told me a lot about it, how it gives a way for young people to discuss local issues, for example, and make suggestions to the town council. And that's what made me interested. Fine. Let me take down some of your details. First of all, how old are you? As you know, the council is for young people aged 13 to 18. I've just turned 18. And where do you live, Roger? Well, that's a bit complicated. At the moment, I'm looking for a flat to rent here. So I am in a hostel from Monday to Friday. I go back to my parents' place at the weekend. Okay. Where is the best place to send you some information about the council? Oh, to my parents' address, please. That's 17 Buckley Street, Buckley, Buckleigh, Street, Stamford, uh, Lincolnshire, though you don't really need the county. Oh, I know Stamford. It's a lovely town. And what is the postcode? PE9 7QT. Right, thank you. So, are you working here or are you a student? I started studying at the university a couple of weeks ago, and I've got a part time job for a few hours a week. What do you do? Well, I've done several different things. I've just finished a short term contract as a courier, and now I'm working as a waiter in one of the big hotels. Oh, that can't leave you much time for studying. Oh, it's not too bad. I managed to fit it all in. What are you studying? My ambition is to go into parliament eventually. So my major subject is politics. That's partly why I think the youth council is important, and I want to be a part of it. And I suppose that you are also taking a major subject, aren't you? I know a lot of people studying economics too. I chose history, and to be honest, I am not finding it as interesting as I expected. Well, I spend quite a lot of time cycling, both around town and to get into university and to work, and also long distance from here to London, for instance. That's pretty impressive. Anything else? For relaxation, I'm also keen on the cinema. I used to go at least once a week, but I can't manage to go so often now. Right. Are you sure that you will have enough time for the youth council? Yes, I've worked out that I can afford to reduce my hours at work, and that will make the time. So, is there any particular aspect of the youth council's work that appeals to you, Roger? Well, my sister is blind, so I am particularly interested in working with disabled young people to try and improve the quality of their lives. That's great. Well, the best way to get involved is to be nominated by some people who you know. Right. Can you tell me how to set about organizing that? You should talk to Jeffrey, our election officer. I can arrange a meeting in the council office with him if you like. Yes, please. He'll be here next Monday, if that suits you. That's the 14th, isn't it? Yes, I can manage late afternoon. You would like to suggest a time? Would you like to suggest a time? He generally leaves around 5:30. Well, would 4:30 be okay? My last class finishes at 4, so I have plenty of time to get to your office. Right, that's fine. Oh, and could we have a phone number we can contact you on? Yes, my mobile number is 07788 I 136711. Thank you. Well, I will look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks very much. Goodbye. Bye. Section 2. Hi, great to see you. Um, I'm Jody, and I'll be looking after both of you for the first month as you are working here at the um, Emersham Theatre. Amersham Theatre. I'll tell you something about the theatre now, and then I'll take you to meet two of the other staff. It's an old building, and it's been modernized several times. In fact, as you can see, we are carrying out a major refurbishment at the moment. The interior has just been repainted, and we are about to start on the exterior of the building, and that will be a big job. The working, the works, the work is running over budget, and so we had to postpone installing an elevator. I hope you are happy running up and downstairs. When the theater was built, people were generally similar, uh, generally slimmer and shorter than now, and the seats were very close together. We replaced them with larger seats with more leg rooms. This means fewer seats in total, but we've taken the opportunity to install seats that can easily be moved to create a different acting spaces. We've also turned few storerooms over to other purposes, like using them for meetings. We try We try hard to involve members of the public in the theatre. One way is by organizing backstage tours so people can be shown around the building and learn how a theatre operates. And these are proving very popular. What we are finding is that people want to have lunch or a cup of coffee while they are here. So we are looking into the possibility of opening a cafe in due course. We have a bookshop which specializes in books about drama, and that attracts plenty of customers. Then there are two large rooms that will be decorated next month, and they'll be available for hire for conferences and private functions, such as parties. We are also considering hiring out costumes to amateur drama clubs. Now, I want to tell you about our workshops. We recently started a program of a workshop so that anyone can join. Eventually, we intend to run courses in acting, but we are waiting until we've got the right people in place as trainers, and that's proving more difficult than we'd expected. There's a big demand to learn about the technical side of putting on a production, and our lighting workshop has already started with great success. We are going to start one on sound next month. A number of people have required about workshops on makeup, and that is something we are considering for the future. Our surprise success is the workshop on making puppets. We happen to have someone working here for who does it as a hobby, and she offered to run a workshop. It was so popular. We are now running them every month. Now, a word about the layout of the building. The auditorium, stage, and dressing rooms for the actors are all below ground level. Here on the ground floor, we have most of the rooms that the public doesn't see. The majority are internal, so they have windows in the roof to light them. Standing here in the foyer, you are probably wondering why the box office isn't here where the public would expect to find it. Well, you might have noticed it on your way in, although it is part of this building. It's next door with a separate entrance from the road. For the theatre manager's office, you go across the foyer and through the double rooms, turn right, and it is the room at the end of the corridor with the door on the left. The lighting box is where the computerized stage lighting is operated, and that is at the back of the building. When you are through the double doors, turn left, turn right at the water cooler, and right again at the end. It is the second room along that corridor. The lighting box has a window into the auditorium, which of course is below us. The artistic director's office is through the double doors, turn right, and it is the first room as you come to on the right hand side. And finally, for the moment, the room where I'll take you next, the relaxation room. So, if you'd like to come with me, section 3. I've brought my notes on our biology field trip into Rocky Bay, Colin, so we can work on our report on the research we did together. Okay, I've got I've got mine too. Let's look at the aims of the trip first. Right, what did you have? I just put something about getting experience of the different sorts of procedures used on a field trip, but we need something about what causes different organisms to choose particularly habitats. I agree, and there's something about finding out how to protect organisms in danger of dying out. In our aim, but we weren't really looking at that. I suppose not. Okay, now there is a list of equipment we all had to bring on the field trip. What did they tell us to bring a ruler for? It was something about measuring the people of the shore. Sorry, measuring the slope of the shore. But of course, we did not need it because we were measuring wind direction and we brought the compass for that. But not the piece of string to hold up in the air. Didn't Mr. Blake make a fuss about us leaving that behind? Yeah, he does go on. Anyway, it was easy to get one from another of these students. Now, the next sections, the procedure, I sent you the draft of that. Yeah, it was clear, but I don't think we need all these details of one time we left and one time we got back, and how we divided up the different research tasks. Okay, I'll look at that again. Then we have to describe our method of investigation in detail. And so let's begin with how we measured wave speed. I was surprised how straightforward that was and uh, expected us to have some sort of high-tech device, not just stand here and count the number of waves per minute. Uh, Not very precise, but I suppose it was good enough. But the way we measured the amount of salt was interesting. In the water from the rock pools? Yeah. Oh, I wanted to check the chemicals we used in the lab when we analyzed those samples. Was it chromate? Was it potassium chromate and silver nitrate? That's right. Okay, and we need the map of the seashore. You just left that to me, and I had to do it while the tide was low. Well, that was okay. But the place I started it from I was down on the beach. Then I realized I should have gone up higher and to get better visibility, and so I had to start all over again. But at least I'd got the squared paper, or I'd have had problems drawing it all to scales. Yes, it looks good. We couldn't get map of the return of the internet and see if we need to make any changes. I had a look, but I couldn't find anything. But you took some pictures, didn't you? Yeah, I'll email you them if you want. Okay, I'll make my amendments using those. Then I can scan it into our report. Great. Now, when we get to our friends, I thought we could divide them up into the different zones that we identified on the shore and the problems organisms face in each zone. So, for the highest area and the splash zone. Yeah, we found mostly those tiny shellfish and that have strong hard shells and that act as protection, but not from other organisms that might eat them, predators. So that's not the main danger for them. But the shells prevent them from drying out and because and they are in the open air for most of the time. Right. And since they are exposed, they need to be able to find some sort of shelter or cover themselves up so they don't get too hot. Then, in the middle and to lower zones nearer the sea, we need to discuss the effects of wave action. Yeah, and low organisms develop structures to prevent themselves from being swept away or even destroyed by being smashed against the rocks. I haven't done anything on the geological changes. I don't know what to put for that. No, we weren't concentrating on that. Maybe we need to find some website. Good idea. I've got the lecture notes from Mr. Blake's geology course, but they are too general. But we could ask him which books on our reading list might be most helpful. Right, okay. Now, I did a draft of the section of courses of possible error in our research, but I don't know if you agree. For example, the size of the sample and whether it's big enough to make any general conclusions from. But I thought actually we did have quite a big sample. We did, and our general method of observation seemed quite reliable. But we might not be all that accurate as far as the actual numbers go. Yeah, we might have missed some organisms if they were hiding under a rock for example. I wasn't sure about the way we described their habitats. I decided it was probably okay. Yeah, and the descriptions we gave these smaller organisms, they weren't very detailed, but they were adequate in this context. I'm not sure we identified all these species correctly though. Okay, I will better mention that now. How? Section 4. We've been discussing the factors the architect has to consider when designing domestic buildings. I'm going to move on now and to consider the design of public buildings, and I'll illustrate this by referring to the new Taylor Concert Hall that's recently been completed here in the city. So, as with a domestic building, when designing a public building, an architect needs to consider the function of the building. For example, it is to be used primarily for entertainment or for education or for administration. The second thing the architect needs to think about is the context of the building. This includes its physical location, obviously, but it also includes the social meaning of the building, how it relates to the people it's built for. And finally, for important public buildings, the architect may also be looking for a central symbolic idea on which to base the design, a sort of metaphor for the building and the way in which it is used. Let's look at the new Taylor Concert Hall in relation to these ideas. The location chosen was a site in a rundown district that has been ignored in previous redevelopment plans. It was occupied by a factory that had been empty for some years. The whole area was some distance from the high-rise office blocks and the central business district and a shopping center, but it was only 1 kilometer from the ring road. The site itself was bordered to the north by a canal which had once been used by boats bringing in raw materials when the area was used for manufacturing. The architect chosen for the project was Tom Harrison. He found the main design challenge was the location. He found the main design challenge was the location of the site in an area that had no neighboring buildings of any importance, and to reflect on the fact that the significance of the building in this quiet, rundown location was as yet unknown. He decided to create a building centered around the idea of a mystery, something whose meaning still has to be discovered. So, how was this reflected in the design of the building? Well, Harrison decided to create a pedestrian access to the building and to make use of the presence of water on the site. As the people approached the entrance, they therefore have to cross over a bridge. He wanted to give people a feeling of suspense as they see the building first from a distance and then close up. And the initial impression he wanted to create from the shape of the building as a whole was that of a box. The first side that the people see, the southern wall, is just a high, flat wall uninterrupted by any windows. This might sound off-putting, but it supports Harrison's concept of the building, that the person approaching is intrigued and wonders what will be inside. And this flat wall also has another purpose. At night time, projectors are switched on and it functions as a huge screen onto which images are projected. The auditorium itself seats 1,500 people, and the floors supported by 10 massive pads. These are constructed from rubber and so are able to absorb any variations from outside and prevent them from affecting the auditorium. The walls are made of several layers of honey-colored wood, all sourced from local beech trees in order to improve the acoustic properties of the auditorium and to amplify the sound. They are not straight, they are curved. The acoustics are also adjustable according to the size of orchestra and the type of music being played. In order to achieve this, there are nine movable panels in the ceiling above the orchestra, which are all individually motorized. And the walls also have curtains which can be opened or closed to change the acoustics. The reaction of the public the reaction of the public to the new building has generally been positive. However, the evaluation of some critics has been less enthusiastic. In spite of Harrison's efforts to use local materials, they criticize the style of the design as being international rather than local and say it doesn't reflect the features of the landscape or society for which it is built.